Happy Wednesday, everybody, and welcome into the Gramlich and McLean podcast presented by Ingles, the official supermarket of Gramlich and McLean. And we are excited, Mac, to have I would say, superstar on the pod today. One of the best quarterbacks in the country. When you look at all the national numbers, it's pretty much him and Cam Ward at the top of all the lists. And that's Kyle McCord, the Syracuse quarterback. I really enjoyed this interview, Mac.
I did too. Was very excited about this. And I just want to peel back the curtain a little bit here, people. Kelly Gramlich texted me on Saturday and said, get Kyle McCord. We want him on the show. So we've been planning this for a while, and we're really excited to have him. Kyle's joining us today. Big shout out to TC over at Syracuse for setting this up. And as you mentioned, bona fide superstar. I mean, top 4 in passing yards, 2nd in passing touchdowns. This guy has been electric all year long, stat sheet stuffer. And for a while, KG, it was just game after game after game. He's breaking his record every single time. And, just averaging a ton of yards per, game there and really, operating at a high level. So I've been very interested to talk with him. I was very excited when we got this set up just to hear from him because as you'll hear, I've kind of put myself in his shoes and kind of spoke how I would be reacting in that situation. But hearing it from him was really cool and really different. So we will do that. We'll talk to him in a second. Quickly, let's have a message from our friends over at Ingles, and then we'll get to this interview.
Did you know Ingles only sells USDA Choice and Prime cuts of meat? Maybe it's time to reward yourself. Our butchers cut all our meat fresh in the store every day. Grass-fed, organic, you name it. Not only that, we'll even cut it to order just the way you like it. And we grind meat fresh in the store multiple times a day. It's all in the bag. That's the best meat in town for the best folks in town. Ingles, low prices, love the savings.
Kyle McCord, brother, great to see you. Welcome to the show. You guys are on fire, man. Syracuse has been really fun to watch. You're coming off a massive victory, going out west, going out to Vegas, getting a ranked team. And getting them down. But I want to go back to the beginning, man, because there's been so much, kind of made from your journey to get here to Syracuse. And can we just go all the way back quickly before we start talking ball and talk about this season? When you made the decision to come to Cuse, what was the most, that went into that? And why'd you choose to hang out with the Orange?
Yeah, I think it was really just the people. From the moment I got in the portal on like the first Monday it opened, Coach Fran was sitting in my living room that night. So just to see the love they have for me was apparent early on. And then when I came on a visit, it just felt like home. I fit in with the guys right away. So between the coaching staff and the players, just the whole situation itself, it just made a lot of sense for me to be here.
Yeah, for sure. And I think it's working out so far for you, Kyle. Coach Fran, we had him on when we previewed Syracuse, and talking to that guy is so much fun. He is so interesting. He's got these sayings. He makes you want to run through a wall. When did you first meet him? Because he says he's known you since you were a kid. He wants to see Little League Kyle, all that stuff. So can you just walk us through maybe your relationship and how it's evolved?
Yeah, so my dad worked with his mom in the hospital together when he was at Temple. And then my dad, just being a typical dad, kind of bragging about me to his wife, like showing her highlights and stuff like that. So he actually came out to one of our youth football games in 6th or 7th grade to watch us play. And so it was a small team. We only had, I think, 15 kids on the team, and now 3 of us play for Syracuse. So
wow,
just kind of cool to see it come full circle. Yeah.
My gosh, that paid
epic?
Dividends.
Were y'all?
Who are the other 2 guys? Who are the other 2?
Yeah.
Who are the other 2?
Deuce Chestnut, number 0, who had the big pick last weekend, and then Dennis Nequez. Yeah.
Wow. My gosh. Okay. Well, first of all, did y'all just like beat everybody down? I mean, were you guys undefeated for every year you played ball?
Yeah, it wasn't fair. I think on that team, out of the 15 kids, I want to say like more than half of them played Division I football at some.
My God.
It's wild.
That's awesome. That's incredible. That's one of the best youth football teams that ever walked the earth. We need to do a Netflix about this.
We need a 30 for
where
30.
are they now? That's unbelievable. Let's dive into Coach Brown a little bit more, man, because, I played ball. Kelly played ball. I sit on a desk with EJ Manuel and Eddie Royal and Coach Mark Richt. And, we have clearly given our thoughts and opinions on just the affirmation and the confidence and the belief that when a head coach has in you, specifically at the quarterback position, we kind of tell what we think, but you're living it, you're doing it, you're the guy that we're talking about. What has that meant to you that literally any question that is asked about how can Syracuse do this? How does Syracuse do this? How will Syracuse? Kyle McCord, Kyle McCord. Like he has the utmost confidence in you. What does that mean to you? And what does that do for your play?
Yeah, it means a lot. And I think when you step on the field and you know that your head coach believes in you, and the rest of the staff believes in you, they're going to give you an opportunity to go and win the game. And I think that's kind of exactly what happened on Friday night in Vegas. And the game kind of came down to that last drive. And right before we went out, Coach Fran just looked at me and kind of was like, let's go. Like this is practices. Every single day we do this. So just having knowing that your head coach has that belief in you, it just allows you to go out and play free, and just have fun. And so it's been a lot of fun so far this year playing for that staff and playing with the guys. And I know the rest of the guys feel that confidence from the coaching staff as well.
Well, let's talk about the big win you guys got on Friday. I think a season, I don't know, season making, but at least momentum grabbing win, beating number 25 UNLV at UNLV in Las Vegas, traveling all the way out there, doing it in overtime. It was an incredible game to watch. What was practice like for you guys heading into this game? It felt like there was just a sense of confidence, especially offensively. Do you feel like it was a turning point for you guys a little bit?
Yeah, I think it was definitely, kind of a deciding factor in the season. Really either going 4-1 with a lot of momentum or dropping down to 3-2. So it was definitely a big game for us. And traveling out west, obviously, it wasn't a normal week playing a day early and all the way out there. But I think we handled the travel really well. The guys handled it like pros and really treated it like a business trip. And you could just feel the sense of urgency in practice, understanding what type of game it was going to be. It was going to be, a back and forth fight, and that's what we expected, and that's exactly what it was. And so, when they were, scoring and making plays, it didn't really phase us too much, which is exactly what you want to see, especially on the road.
Yeah. KG, I know you're so interested in the travel. Do you have any specifics that you want to ask? Because we were talking about this the other day.
Yeah, it's so fascinating because I know you guys will also head to Cal at the kind of latter part of the season, and we just saw Miami travel all the way out to Cal. I think my main question, because Mac and I both know the struggle. I know it was a Friday night, so that's good, but the struggle of traveling back, landing at whatever time, and then having to go to class. You didn't have to, thankfully, on Saturday, but what was the travel like back? Like, what time did you guys land in Syracuse?
I think we got to Syracuse at like 8 a.m. Yeah.
What
Yeah.
was the plane like? Did you have the layback seats and all that stuff?
we didn't have the laid back seats. I was pretty wired up after the game, so I think I only slept like 15-20 minutes on the flight. But it was a good flight. Anytime you get on the plane after a win, it makes it a lot more enjoyable.
Yeah.
But was it?
Do you
I
guys?
guess.
Go ahead, KG. Go ahead.
Well, I'm just because for you, Kyle, coming from the Big Ten, which was previously, without Southern Cal and UCLA, this is the new world we're in. For you, like your body, your recovery, that kind of thing, did this trip have more of an impact on you, or did you feel like, hey, it's fine, we're on to next week, we're on NC State, I don't really feel any effects? I'm just curious as a former athlete.
Yeah. No, I don't think it affected us too much. I think playing on Friday definitely helped because you come back and you have all of Saturday to kind of get back to the right sleep schedule and get caught up on recovery. And I think all the guys slept most of the day on Saturday and just chilled and watched college football. So playing on Friday definitely helped, but at the same time, like we got a good team coming up on Saturday. There's really no time to kind of sit and feel sorry for ourselves that we had to travel that far. You kind of have to flip the page and get back to work.
Yeah, no doubt. One more kind of non-ball, and then we'll jump into this game a little bit more that you guys just played. You said you were juiced up on the flight back. What does that look like? Do you guys play games? Do you play cards? Or you just kind of sitting amongst yourselves? Because those are some of the funnest times. Bus rides and plane rides back. What does that look like after a massive win for y'all?
Yeah, you hit it right on the head. Like it was a lot of fun getting back on the flight, and just like kind of recapping the game with the guys, like talking to OG about some of the big catches he had, laughing about some of the plays that happened, and just those small moments. And it was a lot of fun. I think especially a back and forth game on the road, kind of on the ropes there at the end. To
Yeah.
pull it out, it was sweet. And so just to kind of share that moment with the guys, and especially in Vegas, it was really cool. It was a fun time. Yeah.
Well, you bring up OG. Let's talk about Aranda Gadsden because this guy is a weapon. And the first two games of the year, y'all were connecting. He was having massive games, and then kind of a lull there for the next two. But then against UNLV, it exploded. Was there more of an emphasis on let's get OG the ball? Was it just that was the way UNLV was playing him? What went into that, Kyle?
Yeah, I think, like you said, obviously started off really fast the first two games, and then when we played Stanford, it was apparent they made an emphasis to take him away. It felt like every single play he was doubled in some capacity, and so other guys had to step up and make plays. But then just going back and watching the film from the past 2 weeks, I feel like I could have done a better job of getting him the ball, especially early on, just getting him in a rhythm. And so I think on the first drive he caught two or three passes, and then when we went down and scored. And I thought that was kind of it set the pace for the game. And then he made some really big plays, especially down the stretch on that last drive. And then ultimately putting us at the one right before we scored. So really anytime, like looking back on it, anytime you can get him the ball, good things happen. And even when you think he's not open, he is. And so if you can
Yeah.
just give him a chance, he's going to make the play for you.
He's such a good player. I mean, he's so dynamic. But how about like mindset wise and what you just said right there? Are you kind of conscious of that? Are you like thinking like, oh, I got to get this guy the ball? Like what's happening? I have to get him the ball. Or you just, there's so much you're going through the offense doing your thing.
Yeah, it's pretty similar to what I went through last year with Marvin. Obviously, you
Yeah.
want to get him the ball as much as you can, but he's the best player in the field, so defenses know that, and they're going to try to take him away. So I think you just have to, when you can, take your shots, and then when defenses try to double him and take him away, understand that you have good one-on-one matchups elsewhere. And so I
Right.
feel like, especially last week, I did a good job of that. When he was one-on-one, I tried to get him the ball, and obviously he made plays. He had a monster night. But then, when they were showing him attention with safety over top of him and a linebacker
Yeah.
underneath going elsewhere, and guys stepped up and made big plays.
Yeah. Put on your coach's hat for just a second. When that does happen, like let's say it happens again, moving forward, and I don't know why it wouldn't. I don't know why everybody wouldn't just try to do that because he is that good of a player. What do you do? Do you put him in motion? Do you flex him out wide and where you put him on an island? In your opinion, when you're a coach one day, or even when you're playing at the next level and maybe you're a little more hands on with the offense, how do you get your best playmaker into those type of situations when there's so much attention on him?
Yeah, I think with OG, the best ability he has is his versatility. I think you can line him up outside at receiver, and he's going to be able to get open. We did that a few times. You can line him up in line at tight end, and he can run play action routes and block and get open from there. You can line him up in the slot, and he'll be able to work the linebackers in that underneath coverage. So just lining him up in different places, using motions to kind of see what the defense is in pre-snap, and understanding what type of coverage you're probably going to get. Just little things like that I think Coach Nix did a really good job of.
Kyle, I want to talk about LeQuint as well because he was a monster, 4 total touchdowns. I think specifically, I think of the final play of the game when he just wouldn't go down. And I see when you watch the highlight, you're behind him and I think in your mind, you're thinking, is he actually going to do this? I mean, walk me through that final play with LeQuint.
Yeah. I mean, just to, even before we got to that play, the 4th-and-1 we had on that last drive, we went the jet sweep. Like that was, a lot of backs in my mind aren't making that play. And for him to, go through a full game of, getting hit and just continue to go and then make that play to keep that game alive was huge. And then, like you said, we handed the ball off. It was a simple call. You got the ball on the 1-yard line. In my mind, you have the best back in the conference. Like you're going to give him the ball and just let him score. And so for the game to come down to that last play, I feel like that was a perfect example. Of the game all in just one play, where two guys made a really good play, and then we just had, I think, just more effort on that. And so LeQuint is he's crazy back there. I love playing with him. He's always on go, and so he makes my job easier.
I love
Yeah.
that, man. It's good to have a running back like that. It's good to have a dude that's
Yeah.
super versatile and can just be a great weapon, for your offense. All right, we talked about a bunch of different guys. Your receivers have been awesome all year. I want to talk about you a little bit because you threw the ball 60 freaking times. That's crazy. My elbow and shoulder are hurting just thinking about that. But you do what's asked of you, and you do whatever the team needs. And you're obviously doing it at a very high clip. You're amongst the best in the country yardage. You're second in the country in touchdowns.
Mhm.
What do you attribute this success to? Because quite frankly, and I don't want to get too much into it. You can if you want to. I think a lot of people wrote you off, man. And when I
Mm.
saw you coming into Syracuse and I knew the talent that you had, I thought this was going to be a match made in heaven, specifically with the weapons that you guys have. And you've taken your play to a whole new level. What do you attribute that to?
Mm.
Yeah, I mean, I think you hit it on the head. I think I came in here, obviously with a chip on my shoulder, the way things ended last year, and then just surrounded by a lot of great talent. I feel like just my receiving room extremely underrated. I feel like obviously the running back room is loaded, and then having tight ends like OG and Dan Valera, and then the line has done a great job too of keeping me upright all year. And then Coach Nixon just put me in uh, opportunities to succeed, and so given I had a full season to go back and study myself last year, full slate of 12 games, and understand the areas that I needed to get better in, as well as areas that I was good and just needed to continue to grow. Just I think allowed me to take my game to the next level, and feel like everything's happening slower now. Seeing the field clearly, and then just trusting myself and just having fun. I think that's the biggest thing. This is probably the closest thing to high school football for me. Like that's what it feels like going out and playing with a bunch of my friends that I grew up playing with. So it's been a lot of fun. I think it's just a combination of all those things and just enjoying it.
Well, it's obvious. And I think it's really cool. I mean, this is the positive of the portal, right? I think the portal gets such a negative rap all over college football, and I get it. But you're a guy who said, I'm going to bet on myself. I'm going to put myself in a different situation. I feel like I need to change. And it worked out. I mean, did you see this as I am going to bet on myself? I'm going to go somewhere where maybe my skill set is more utilized. Was that the way you looked at it when you went in the portal?
Yeah, I mean, obviously wanted to weigh my options, and I know some guys get the portal and they kind of have an idea of where they're going. That wasn't the case for me. I had absolutely no clue where I was going to end up, and then just quickly understanding, the type of offense that Coach Nixon runs, and just understanding the situation that I'd be in. And like I said earlier, it made sense for me to be here. I think when
Mm.
you just add in, the players around me and then the system, I envisioned obviously having success here, and then just looking at other schools, they were comparable, but at the same time, like I didn't have a relationship with coaches like I did with Coach Fran, and I don't think the supporting cast of the other schools who were really recruiting me were as good as the ones here. So just like I said earlier, just it made sense for me to be here, given everything that went into it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Love that, man. That's awesome. Last one for me, buddy. Really appreciate your time again. You guys are going on a bit of a unique journey here where you have 5 away games, 1 home game kind of buried in the middle of that. What's the most important thing for an offense, for a quarterback, when you do go on the road, when you're in a new environment and you're trying to kind of settle that down, that you guys will overemphasize, this next month and a half where you're pretty much on the road the whole time?
Yeah, I think the two biggest things, obviously, communication, communicating, especially with the O line, making sure that we're on the same page in protections, and I think on top of that, execution. I think if you can execute, and you can convert on big plays and third downs and score in the red zone, all those things help. And like you said, obviously, going to be playing in some tough places, some hostile environments. So just sticking together when things are going right, just continuing to, grind away. And then when things, sometimes hit the fan and adversity strikes, just staying together and knowing that it's a long game and you just got to keep swinging, which is kind of what happened on Friday.
Kyle, I have one more, but it's more of a fun question. And I know with Syracuse, I've been there many times during basketball season. I think you were so smart to pick a place where you could play indoors. I just respect you so much for that. But overall, when I go to Syracuse and I'm freezing in January and February, I almost always hit up Dinosaur Barbecue. Mac's going to be so proud of me for asking this question. Because Mac is the grill guy. What is your Dinosaur Barbecue order? Do you have one?
I forget exactly what it's called, but it's like a three. Um, I get it's a plate with mac and cheese,
Mm.
Meat and three.
brisket,
Meat
and
and
then
three. Yeah,
chicken.
yeah, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Come
yeah, yeah,
on.
yeah,
That
yeah.
sounds
So
killer.
that's always the go-to, and then I'll walk out of there uh, like 5 pounds overweight,
Yes.
but it'll be worth it.
I
That's
like
right.
it.
Was that the closer on your recruiting visit? Like that kind of sealed the deal. Did y'all go there?
So funny story. I was supposed to come up here on a Thursday, and we were gonna have like the recruiting like lunch, dinner, whatever at Dinosaur Barbecue. And so I get on my plane, and it's a short plane ride from Philly to Syracuse, and um, I call Coach Fram like I'm on my way, whatever. And so I'm on the plane, and then I wake up, and the pilot comes on and said that they had like a missing part in the plane, like a broken part, and they didn't have it in Syracuse, so we had to go back to Philly.
Oh
And
no.
so I called Coach Fran and told him that the like the plane turned around. He was like, "Bro, if you're not coming, just like tell me. Like
Ah,
it's
He
all
doesn't
right."
believe you. Oh no.
Yeah, he didn't believe me. But then fast forward, some of the guys on the team were at Dinosaur Barbecue, and they're like, "Bro, they literally rented out the whole room for you, and like we had all this food expecting to show up, and you never did." Like we were like, "Damn, we didn't get Kyle, but at least we got a bunch of Dinosaur Barbecue." So yeah, I guess I did him a favor, but not really. Yeah,
that's
Hey.
wild. That's the worst feeling in the world, by the way. You fall asleep on the plane, you wake up, and you're like, "Where are we? What?"
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, it was
What's
Oh,
supposed to be like
happening?
a 45-minute flight, and I slept for like an hour, and I woke up, and we still hadn't
mm-mm.
landed. So
Too well
yeah, it was
rested.
wild.
Where are
Yeah,
we?
it
Yeah.
was wild.
Code
That's
red.
crazy.
Jeez Louise. Well, Kyle, awesome to talk to you, man. Really appreciative. We'll be with you in Raleigh, the huddle. So can't wait to see you there. Excited for that game, and just good luck the rest of the way, man.
Yep. Thank you guys. Appreciate it.
Thanks again to Kyle McCord for joining us. And Mac, I would like to shout out Kyle. I am not saying that other athletes have been late when they've joined us, but I will say that Kyle McCord was very prompt. I think he was like
Yes.
3 minutes early. We appreciate that, Mac. That is well done because you
100%.
and
It
I
was
have,
very nice of him. Very
yeah,
nice of him to do that.
we're so just way to go. I mean, you can tell he's a man that's about his business. Okay.
That's
And
right.
Mac, I'm also about my business with Underdog Fantasy. You can play Underdog Fantasy today. Use our code GMPOD for up to $1,000 in bonus cash. The easiest place to play fantasy sports. I would also argue the most fun. It's just so easy to use. There's so many different options. You can go game by game. You can go different players, whatever you want. And I am just telling you, Mac, I am giving a Grambling guarantee that I will get back on the horse this week.
Let's
Absolutely
go.
gonna have a winning week.
You doing a 8-person pick
No,
thing?
3.
No? Okay.
Back
3.
to 3.
I like that.
That's
I like
it.
that. I can promise y'all I'm going hard and I'm going freaking 8 wide. That's what I'm doing. But I am going to segment. I'm going to also segment. And you know what's going to happen, Kelly? I'm going to miss one in all of
You
them.
are, yeah,
It's going
for
to
sure.
It's going to drive me nuts. We'll see.
Because you're
We'll
not
see what happens
perfect.
though. That's right. I'm not perfect. I am definitely not perfect, but it is fun. And that one thing that I've actually really enjoyed from using this app, Underdog Fantasy, is it kind of gives you a little bit of expectation because somehow those people know. Those people know. I don't know how, but they know.
Yeah.
And you kind of can look and see trends of games and what is expected. And there are times where it maybe is a little different than what we thought, just giving the stats and some of the other things that have been happening frequently, and then they know somehow. So a good thing to pay attention to, a good way to use to analyze, and it's just been fun. As you mentioned, it's the easiest way to do it. Underdog Fantasy, go download the app, use our code GMPOD. We'll get you up to $1,000 in bonus cash. Get in the game. Come on, tell us what you're doing, and let's have a little fun.
Let's do it. All right, Mac. This is just more of a Kyle McCord feature than anything. We know that Syracuse will play at NC State this weekend. The primetime game, the huddle will be there. I just really wanted to talk about Kyle McCord and the decision he made to leave Ohio State, which, how many quarterbacks leave Ohio State, especially when you just went 12-1, or sorry, 11-1 as the quarterback. But to go somewhere where he felt like his skill set could really flourish, and to go somewhere where he also thought he could win, and just be a little bit more important, I guess, as a part of the scheme, but also put up some crazy numbers. And Syracuse is off to a great start. They're off to a 4-1 start. Just the 2-point loss to Stanford, which was a brutal one. They could be 5-0, but hey, you got to move on. And the difference in his numbers, Mac, I looked this up. Last year at Ohio State, he averaged 29 passing attempts per game, and he had 3 games of 300 plus yards. This year at Syracuse, averaging 48 passing attempts per game, and every single game he's gone over 300 yards easily. His season low is 339, the Stanford game that they lost, of course. So it's just night and day. And you and I, we've been critical of the portal. We're not the portal all day, every day people. But in a situation like this where he was at Ohio State for 3 years, he put in the time. He realized it was probably not the best fit. I'm going to go somewhere else. To me, this is the real kind of positive side of the portal.
Right. And to just go, somewhere that you're valued. They want you. They're excited about you. And hearing, every time that Coach Brown talks about him and just kind of asking him, as we did in the interview, that's really cool to see, because, it's one thing, KG, for your position coach or coordinator or something to say good things about you and to, oh, we believe in you. But when the head guy says it, it's just so different. It's just so much more, empowering. Or on the other side, it can be so much more negative if he says something. You're kind of like, oh my gosh, like, coach, you said that? You can't really, have his funny jokes or things of that when you're the head coach. So, it's one of those things to me where we are seeing all the fruits of that labor. We're seeing all of that, really translate to the field. And a guy that has the ultimate green light. I mean, that's not why I think we do see some of the passes we do from time to time that maybe are a little questionable. Maybe, some of the picks you're like, what the heck? But it's just, he has it. He has the green light of where he's going to make, the best decision and get his team in the place to win. But also I wish we would have asked him about this. It was kind of a miss by your boy here, but the relationship that he seems to have with his wide receivers so quickly. Like, I would have loved to have asked him what all went into that. Because again, you have 4 guys over 20 something passes, 26 passes. And that seems to be the real core of guys that get the ball the most. And then you have another guy there that has multiple touchdowns that could be added to that group. So it seems like the relationship, the bond, the trust, the understanding of route concepts really has come together in a hurry for these guys. And that's been really fun to watch.
It has. And the fact that they got Gadsden much more involved against UNLV was huge going forward. And that's a really big win. That's a huge non-conference win for Syracuse to get a ranked win. Like we said, Syracuse or NC State this weekend, bye week, then Pitt. So it probably feels like if you keep winning, you're going to have to beat NC State, deal with your bye, which bye is good, and then win at Pitt, I think, to jump in the rankings. It just depends on what happens elsewhere. Who knows? Maybe everybody could lose again. I have no idea. But I also think Syracuse has to be careful here, Mag. Back-to-back road games. NC State playing at home is always tough, even though they're coming off a loss. You can't overlook this game, especially heading into a bye week. So I want to see how can Syracuse look in this type of situation.
Right. And I am interested. I can't remember if I told you this or not, KG, but I am interested just to see what does the environment look like, for NC State, because obviously, losing doesn't help anybody. But also I believe it's fall break. I don't think the students are going to be there. So, when you look at that advantage in a place that normally in normal circumstances is a beast, like that's one of the best that we have in the ACC, Carter Finley. I've said multiple times, outside of Clemson, outside of Florida State, that's the hardest place I ever played in the ACC. So normally it is. And are they going to pack it out? Are they going to stay with their team? Are they going to stay excited and, be able to create that home field advantage per se for the rest of the season? We'll see. That's going to be an interesting thing to look at. NC State has a really good pass defense, upper middle of the ACC. So that's going to be a unique challenge for those guys to go against. But at the end of the day, it just felt like that UNLV game, minus the 60 passing attempts, like that's a lot. It just felt like distribution-wise, how you saw guys used, that was the perfect, kind of snapshot of who and what Syracuse wants to be offensively.
And they used LaQuinn Allen a lot in the passing game too. So they had that factor as well. We'll see how it goes. But thanks to Kyle McCord for joining us. Excited to see him continue to tear it up. Maybe he can rise up a bit in some of these Heisman odds. I mean, I get it. Syracuse is 4-1. They're not ranked. But, I don't even see him on here. And I am scrolling. So here we go. plus 30,000. Keep winning and keep putting up these monster numbers, and I think he'll climb up. Pretty surprised to see Cam Ward third, which I'm not surprised there. Cade Klubnik fifth, above Carson Beck. You could have never told me that after week one.
What I tell you? Trying to tell you. It's fun to watch. We got some quarterbacks in the league of the quarterback, year of the quarterback here in the ACC. So it's fun to watch. As you said, big shout out to Kyle. Thank you for your time. Very grateful. And of course, TC for making it happen there at Syracuse. The huddle's going to be there. We'll see it live and in person. Can't wait for that. And again, hope that environment is elite like it normally is, coming down to Carter Finley and just seeing what the Wolfpack can do. So we'll have all more on this game. Really jump in. We'll give you our underdog fantasy picks on this game and many, many more on Friday. So tune into that. KG, you got to go. You have a not a plane, but a car to catch. You're going to do some basketball. It's crossover season, baby. Let's go. We might have some stuff coming down the pipe for that as well, because we are here, and I think the women's side is going to be really, really good. It's going to be fun to talk about that as well. So that's it from us. Appreciate you guys. Go over, subscribe to YouTube. Jump in the comments. Let us know what you think about this episode. If you're rocking with Kyle McCord like we are, which we feel really good about him, and of course the OGs on SiriusXM and Apple Podcasts, rate, review, subscribe there as well. We would greatly appreciate that. But until next time, we'll see y'all.